History remembers many kings for their power, their wars, and the territories they conquered. But very few rulers changed the course of human thinking the way Ashoka did. What makes his story fascinating is that he did not begin as a hero. In fact, the early years of Ashoka's rule were marked by brutality, conquest, and fear. Ashoka was born into the powerful Maurya Empire, one of the largest empires in ancient India. His grandfather had built the empire through military strength, and Ashoka inherited that same ambition. When he became emperor around 268 BCE, he was determined to expand the empire even further. His armies were disciplined, well-trained, and unstoppable. But one particular war would change everything. The target was a region known as Kalinga, a wealthy and independent kingdom along the eastern coast of India. The battle that followed became one of the bloodiest conflicts in ancient Indian history. Ancient accounts describe rivers filled with blood and thousands of bodies scattered across the battlefield. Historical records suggest that more than 100,000 people were killed and many more were injured or taken as prisoners. When the war finally ended, Ashoka walked through the battlefield. Instead of celebrating victory, he saw suffering, families crying over lost loved ones, cities destroyed, lives ruined. According to historical inscriptions, the emperor was deeply shaken by what he saw. This moment transformed him. Ashoka began to question the meaning of power and conquest. Instead of ruling through violence, he decided to pursue a different path. He embraced the teachings of Gautama Buddha, which emphasized compassion, peace, and the search for knowledge. But what does this have to do with science? The answer lies in the policies Ashoka introduced after his transformation. Instead of focusing solely on military expansion, he began investing in public welfare, education, and the spread of knowledge across his empire. One of his most revolutionary ideas was the promotion of intellectual exchange. Ashoka sent scholars, monks, and teachers across Asia to share philosophical ideas and encourage learning. These missions traveled to regions that are now Sri Lanka, Central Asia, and parts of the Middle East. This movement of people and ideas helped spread not only religious philosophy but also knowledge about medicine, agriculture, mathematics, and astronomy. Ashoka also ordered the construction of hospitals for both humans and animals. This may sound simple today, but in the ancient world it was a remarkable idea. Organized healthcare systems were rare, and most societies had no public institutions dedicated to treating the sick. By establishing medical centers and encouraging the study of healing practices, Ashoka indirectly supported early scientific thinking in medicine. He also invested in infrastructure that improved communication and travel. Roads were built across the empire, with rest houses and wells placed along major routes. These roads made it easier for scholars, traders, and travelers to move between regions. Whenever people travel and exchange ideas, knowledge grows, and that exchange is one of the foundations of scientific progress. Another important contribution was Ashoka's use of inscriptions across the empire. He ordered messages to be carved onto massive stone pillars and rocks. These inscriptions explained his policies, ethical principles, and guidance for society. Today, historians call these writings the Edicts of Ashoka. They were written in multiple languages so people from different regions could understand them. This act of communicating information across a large population helped preserve knowledge and created a tradition of recorded information, something that later scholars would rely on when studying history, culture, and governance. Some historians believe Ashoka's support for open intellectual exchange helped create an environment where scientific ideas could develop more freely. The spread of Buddhist monasteries, which he supported, also played a role. Many monasteries became centers of learning where scholars studied philosophy, medicine, mathematics, and astronomy. Over centuries, These learning traditions influenced educational institutions across Asia. Even though Ashoka lived more than 2,000 years ago, the systems he encouraged education, public health, knowledge sharing, and written communication are still core pillars of modern scientific societies. But perhaps the most powerful lesson from Ashoka's story is not just about science, it is about transformation. Few rulers in history have openly admitted regret over the suffering caused by their own conquests. Ashoka did something rare for a powerful emperor. He changed. He shifted his empire away from endless warfare toward ideas that valued human welfare and knowledge. His transformation shows how a single moment of reflection can redirect the course of history. Today, Ashoka is remembered not as the ruthless conqueror he once was, but as a ruler who chose wisdom over violence, and in doing so, he helped create conditions where learning, inquiry, and the exchange of knowledge could flourish. Those ideas, curiosity, education, and compassion are still at the heart of scientific progress today. So the story of Ashoka is more than a tale of an ancient emperor. It is a reminder that sometimes the greatest impact on human progress begins not with victory, but with a moment of realization.